Is someone that I can be vulnerable with. Somebody who creates that safe space for me to take off all the facades, the masks, the personalities, the everything that I carry and just be myself. No matter, how good, bad, and ugly that version of me is at the time.
Good friend. A good friend. I think for me, a good friend is a person who's able to love and treat me the way I need them and want them to treat me. And a friend who is doing life with me. And a friend who's able to, a friend who's able to rebuke me when I do wrong, and a friend who's able to, speak life upon my life, as well in drawing closer to my purpose, And for me, that's a good friend, and a friend who's active in those things. It's not just high level, it's just being deep as well. Like literally a person who I feel and I see that, this person is actually doing life with me. So that's what I consider a good friend. And yeah.
That's good. Okay, I'll go slow. That's good. I think all of those things for me as well. What I would add is someone that I can be vulnerable with. Somebody who creates that safe space for me to take off all the facades, the masks, the personalities, the everything that I carry and just be myself. No matter, how good, bad, and ugly that version of me is at the time. A person who creates a safe space for me to be exactly who I am. Purpose partner, like you're saying, somebody where I will share my dreams, my heart's desires, my deepest, darkest secrets. I'll say, this is what I'm aspiring to. Somebody who's going to keep me honest on what I've shared, right? To say, you said that you want to achieve this. Accountability, right? Oh. You said you want to achieve this. Where are you on that journey? Are you still pursuing that? If you've stopped, why have you stopped pursuing that? What's changed? What do we need to work on to get you back on that path, I think those are two critical things for me. Then the third one is somebody who'll show up. Showing up is important. Showing up is so important for me. I don't know. It's just important. Like showing up could be,
What does showing up mean?
How does it look like?
How does it look like? If I'm like, friend, I'm hosting something, please pull through. Showing up is you pulling through, but also being my friend, being like, friend, I know that you're a bit OCD and you want to do everything by yourself, but let me help you do X, Y, and Z, right? Showing up is you've disappeared. And I think you and I had this conversation last year. You've disappeared for a while. What's going on? Where are you? Let's meet, let's connect so I can find out, where you're at. Showing up is just being there, dude. It's literally just being there because you want to be, not because I've asked you to. That is showing up.
Yeah, that's deep. That hits a core. Wow.
Yeah, for me, I think I think similar to what you guys said, but I think intentionality is a big factor there. Your ability to avail yourself and be vulnerable. But I think that's also, you can only be as vulnerable as much as you are with yourself.
Yes.
So I guess it's subjective to an extent. What else? Allowing me in. I like it when my friends allow me in. Like, share your life experiences with me.
It's a word.
So being allowed in, and reciprocation.
Yes.
Can we
match my energy?
Match my pursuit. And I think somebody who just takes time to study me, and I think there's value in knowing your friends' love languages and how they want to receive love and how they give love, and I guess accountability is also a key function in it. And I think purpose partners, I like that three friends for me.
Yeah, purpose partners.
Yeah, and I think because I'm Christian, so sharing God is a big thing for me. Just being able to share God in our relationships. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, just I think the simplified version. I'm sure there's a list somewhere, but I think the
Yeah.
simplified version.
But it's
of
important
it.
because it must come from your heart, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to step away from the tick box
Yeah.
exercise to say, what does it mean for
Yeah.
you? And when you think about it, I feel like that's where your heart overflows. I just want to make a point though. All the things that we've mentioned, do you see how those are important foundations for a romantic relationship?
Oh, actually, that's so true.
Hashtag relationship goals. Just
Goals.
saying.
It's coming. It's coming.
Just on that, you asked on what kind of friendships do we want? What kind of friends do we want? What kind of friendship? What kind of friend are you?
Sure. Wow. What kind of friend am I?
Yeah, like how are your friends experiencing you right now?
It's so awkward because you guys are my friends, and I'm like, who? I can't even oversell myself. Because if I oversell myself, people will be like, sure. Well, I'll be honest. I would say I am a good friend, but I'm not a perfect friend. Like I also do have my flaws where I also miss it at times, to be honest. But where I am with my friendships, right, and I consider all my friends like my tribe, where I am with my tribe is just trying to really do life with them. And as I said, that one thing that I've learned with me is trying to fight against that, pride. Because one thing that I'm learning, and maybe it's because this is where I'm currently am, is guys, adulting is something else. Like the challenges that it comes. Like I'll give an example. Even with my birthday, right? There's some friends who didn't say happy birthday, and I didn't take.
But I'm hurt.
And just to show the level of maturity that I have now, I didn't take offense, but I understood that possibly they're going through the most. If I'm going through the most, they are going through the most, right? But knowing that they wish me the best, that when I need them to show up, they do show up. That's what I consider is more important for me. So right now, what I'm learning with my friendship is balancing in, okay, I'm going through the most, but how do I avail myself when they need me? Because that's also a bit tricky. Because if you are trained, it's so tough to give yourself off and be the friend that your friend requires, right? And I think what I'm also learning is also articulating that to your friends, which I've noticed that I haven't been articulating with. You know what? To be honest, I'm currently here emotionally. I am not going to be the bongi that you know. I'm not going to be emotionally available for you because, hey, I'm going through A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But how do we navigate? How do I support you in a context that you feel like, okay, bongi is here, just balancing that. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question because that was a mouthful.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't as concise as you were with the other list, but okay.
I get where Bongs is coming from. I get it. And I do agree. You have grown. Because I was a said friend, not this year, the previous year with the birthday thing. And honestly, you are going through things or you forget and it's not intentional. But I think, like you're saying, let the other actions, the showing up, speak for you. I am still loved. I am still important in this person's life, even if they forgot just the one thing this one time.
No, I get that, but I think it's interesting how when we talk about the type of friend that we want, we've got a clear, concise list, but when we talk about
The friend that you
we are now, there's situations that needs to be considered and stuff like that. So and I get, I'm just thinking about how realistic is our list of qualities that we want from our friends, and if we have to talk about the friends that we are or want to be, then there's condition, I'm going through this life, adulthood,
That's a valid point.
are we being realistic, or are we living what we want? Are we what we want? Do you get what I mean? So I think I'm trying to figure that out. If I'm just thinking right now, the list that I have. Can a person say that I am that friend? Because it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Two people.
Yeah.
Am I available? Granted, life happens. Am I always vulnerable? Does that person perceive me as a purpose partner? So I think what I'm trying to get to is, with that list in mind, are we living that already?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we are going to have to bring that same energy in that friendship.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think to your points, Lee, one of the things that I do that helps keep me grounded, I guess, is I can't have expectations of other people that I know that I wouldn't be able to meet.
Yeah.
Right. So, my 3 things around showing up, being a purpose partner, being vulnerable are things that I actively try to do,
Yeah.
for myself. I mean, just outside of friendships, just for me as a person. And then I try to bring that into the relationship. And, those are the things that I also expect of my people. And it's a work in progress. I think, we must stop this thing of expecting somebody to arrive in life having ticked all the boxes, because that's not possible. Sometimes you'll meet somebody with the potential who will grow into those things, but you need to be willing to go through the journey with them.
You're a great friend. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We love you.
I would like to think that I'm also supportive of your process.
Yeah, you are, friend.
Absolutely.
All right. So, next question, guys. Do you approach your friendships with the golden rule or the platinum rule? So, the golden rule is basically, I'll treat you the way I expect you to treat me, right?
And I treat you the way I want to be treated.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the platinum rule, and this I recently discovered reading option B by Sheryl Sandberg, where it's more on the platinum rule. I'll treat you the way you want to be treated.
Oof. Yes, girl.
Okay.
Gurav.
Because it's a tricky one, innit?
How do you know how they want to be treated?
You ask.
Yeah. So, okay. Trying
You
to
ask.
understand this.
So I think, I would say that I am currently in the golden rule situation.
Yeah.
In the, if we're being honest, guys, the golden is the life that we're living, right?
So is
But
it like imposing your expectations on someone else and treating them like that?
For the golden rule.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the platinum is what I aspire to. And this is why I think I did this exercise last year. I actually asked my friends, what's your love language? How do you receive love?
Yeah.
Because I could be giving love the best way I know how, but if I'm not giving the person love the way that they receive it, they could not be feeling loved at all. And so having that conversation, helped put things into perspective. And it also stops you from doing a copy-paste model. My friendships are quality time. Or I'm going to buy everybody with gifts or whatever. Because people are different. And so you need to cater your love, shall I cater to you in your friendship so that you are showing up for the person the way that they most feel loved. And that's why I'm saying it's something that I aspire to. It is work. Let's be honest. It is always easier to be like, this is what I've got and this is all I'll give you. But I think going that extra mile and showing up for them the way that they want to be loved takes your friendship just that much deeper.
Yeah. I think I'm also on the same boat as Belinda. I think I'm also on that golden rule level. But I was just realizing how risky that also is, because you are imposing how you want to be loved on them,
Right.
and how that can also create a lot of confusion in the friend and uncommunicated expectations. So I think that's something, there's room for me to work on that as well. And just, I think it requires a lot of intentionality.
Yeah.
I hate this word now.
No, but it does. Because if you think about it, the golden rule is almost very passive.
Yeah.
It's a passive way of
It's
loving.
very assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going to the platinum rules being intentional.
So I think that's my homework. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, same boat as you. Golden rule. Platinum is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think because it requires work, and we just don't want to work for relationships. Work in relationships, not work for, but work in relationships.
Period. Hey,
Sure.
friendships, relationships, all of it. Like,
Just whack, whack.
Put in the effort.
Exactly.
Put in
Oh my
the
gosh,
effort.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the next question. How have your friendships evolved as you've matured and aged?
yo, seasons change. Seasons change and people change. I've been friends with my bestie, Slee. Shout out to you, boo. Love you lots.
Oh, me?
Not the Slee. But yeah, Slee and I met when we were in grade 5. So we were 11. And 3 years down the line, we're going to be friends for 2 decades.
Wow.
Which is a lot, a lifetime. That is a child in varsity in the first life.
Yeah.
And that friendship has taught me so much. And to answer your question, seasons change and people change. I am not the 11-year-old Slee met then. And she is not that person that I met then either.
Sure.
But we have learned to grow together. And growing together means seasons will change, means sometimes there were seasons when we weren't speaking as often, means sometimes there were seasons of silence, meaning there were seasons where, we go hectic and we were on the phone like all the time.
Yeah.
There were seasons where we were apart, seasons when we were together. But I think being intentional and choosing to go through all of those experiences with someone, that just it develops your relationship, it develops your character. And I think also it's taught me to give somebody room to grow and to be who they are and to come into their own and to not be jealous and to not impose my expectations and, you know, to not be like, Mara, you've changed, because people do change. People grow.
That's the natural progression.
Purpose partners, right? Is saying, friend, you want to do X, Y, and Z with your life. Okay, cool. I'm going to support you in that, even if it means there are going to be difficult seasons with friendship page. That's fine because I love you and I want to build with you. And so, yeah, a lot has changed. But I think loving each other through the change, loving each other through the different seasons. Like literally, I was home a couple of weeks ago and we were chatting and she was just like, yo, do you remember, you know, the teenagers we were? I'm just like, girl. You know, and we were reminiscing about that and we're looking at the adults that we are now and we, you know, we're just reminiscing around the messed up, very broken relationships that we were in and just how the things that we were going through even as children at that time, but just looking at how we are now as adults and the lives that we've built and how we can be proud of who we are, proud of each other and proud of just, you know, the lives that we have, the relationships that we have. And it's so nice to have someone who's been present in my life for so long who can look back and say, yo, see Puma with them guys.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Hey, that's beautiful.
So for me, and I think I'll make reference to one of my closest and deepest friendship with you, Bongs. So I met Bongs in varsity first year. She says she didn't like me.
I didn't understand your vibe. Like, guys, he was literally a cool kid. Like, I don't
What was
understand.
not to like about me? I'm a nice
Honest, open,
person.
and transparent in this friendship.
Such a nice person, guys. But and yeah, and we our friendship grew closer over the years. But I think the turning point for us, or maybe like a pinnacle point for us, it was I think in my second year of my grad year at that place where I work. Nice place to work at. We had the conversation. I think you and I had a conflict, and I sat her down and I spoke and we just spoke it out. And I was like, I'm not happy about this, and I'm not. And I think that's the first time we communicated our expectations of our friendship. So I think how our friendship, or how I've learned to allow friendships to evolve as the years go, is to communicate. First things first. Communicate disappointment, communicate expectations, communicate hurt. And that was something that I used to struggle with. I used to swallow it in and be like, okay, just, you know, bear with it, you know.
Very dangerous.
Exactly. And the thing is, I used to distance myself. So once somebody hurts me, I'm like, okay, sharp later, you know. But I'd still be in that friendship, but I distance myself to avoid hurts in the future again. But that's not a really courageous way to live.
Yeah.
So I think communicating hurt, communicating expectations, communicating disappointment. That's the first start. And I think allowing the person to evolve, not constantly holding on to the bongs that I made in varsity that used to like these things. Allow bongs to grow, allow bongs to take new interests, allow bongs to be friends with other people. So allow the person to evolve. And I think if, like, back to that point that you made about being purpose partners, if you are aligned, or not aligned per se, but if you understand what bongs is working towards, it's easier for you to allow them to evolve, because you're like, oh, that's the goal, that's where you're trying to get to. So let me let you do you and support you, and like genuinely support the person, not just in words, but just pray for them and be there, be present, avail yourself. So I think once you are a supportive person, and I think that also takes a decision for you to be like, I'm not gonna be the number one priority in this relationship, And I think that's a decision that we need to make consciously in any relationship, where, okay, your priority is also my priority, So I think it's going back to intentionality, but communication for me, and it's something that I still struggle with, because when I'm disappointed, Bongi would be like the first person to be like, yo, Slee, I'm sensing some distance. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, yeah, you did this,
And she listens, guys. You are listening.
And I think it's also that security of knowing that Bongs and I can be in conflict and not be fearful of this bond is going to break. Being secure in the friendship. It's okay for us to not talk. So it's okay to disagree. It's okay to not be aligned on this particular point. But I'm also still secure that you'll still be my friend the day after. So security.
Yeah, sure. That's very great. In terms of me, first point, I was all about quantity when it comes to friendships.
Yeah, I hated that about you.
Yeah,
You had so many friends in varsity.
Yeah, like I was all about quantity. So, how my friendships have evolved is, I don't focus on quantity. I really focus on quality. And it's been a process that has been, it has been painful and uncomfortable, just letting go of friendships and understanding that, what, it's not about quality, it's about it's not about quantity, but it's all about quality. But from my space, how I've also evolved and matured from a friendship perspective is allowing a person, because even with one particular friend, I remember when she fell pregnant, guys, she didn't tell me. And when I asked her, why didn't you tell me? She was like, but you know how you are, And I was like, whew, okay, there's a problem here. Some of my friends see me as a perfectionist. They see me as a good girl. They see me not as a friend where they can come and say, hey, dude, I actually, stuffed up here. And that hurt. And I had to just reflect and say, okay, I need to change as a friend when it comes to my own friendships, and to allow, as you guys mentioned, for my friends to change, to make that mistakes, and to say, hey, whether you do this mistake, I'm going to be here and support you. So my friendships have evolved from a place of, now I am trying to be a friend where, even if you kill a person, you can come to me and tell me I killed the person.
Do we bury, or do we go to the police station? What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. We plan. Do you get what I'm saying? And just to create that safe place. So those are the 2 points how my friendships have evolved. Externally, not focusing on the quantity, and internally, me becoming a friend where I create a safe place. And I know we're running out of time. So, okay, so what are your blind spots in your friendships, and how are you improving on those blind spots to be a better friend?
Oh, guys, that's like a very hectic question.
I'll go. Because I gotta run, but I'll go. I do. I'm just like, I must call the doctor.
Yeah.
So, okay. I think I'm very similar to you, Slee, in that when things happen, I'm a work in progress. Nobody's perfect. I used to be the person where if I'm going through things or if I'm unhappy about something with you or whatever, I will, emotionally unavail myself
Yeah.
and work through the struggle and get to a point where I'm like, put myself back together. And then when I'm ready, I'll be like, oh, so you remember a couple of months ago? A, B, C, D, and E. And I'm learning to talk about stuff, as and when it happens, and to be vulnerable and to say, yo, bruh, you did this and it hurt, and this is why, and this is how I'd like you to behave in this situation in the future. So I'm learning to do that. I'm learning to communicate more and be vulnerable. Also quite good at, going through things on your own and putting yourself back together.
Yeah.
Going on. And this was actually sometimes I have very honest conversations with my friends, and they're just like, girl, you are, our support system, and you're the person that we want to come to when we're going through stuff, and you'll love and you'll support us through it, but you don't allow us to be that for you. And that hit home. And so that is still a work in progress, and it's difficult to go from being that introverted individual and to unlearn all the things that you've been doing, over the last couple of years, to being vulnerable, to being intentional, to being present even when you are going through the adulting business. Those are my blind spots, and that's what I'm doing to work on it. And I think creating a safe space for friends to tell you,
Like have a
and to
teachable
not
spirit.
take that, and to not take that personally. Yes, have a teachable spirit.
Sure.
So blind spots in the friendship.
Blind spots
Okay.
as you as a friend, or
Yeah, I think it's a personal thing. My blind spots in general. I think I struggle with communicating. I'm that person who bottles things in. So for me, it's been a continuous learning experience for me, and just learn how to communicate. So I think that's something that I will continuously be working on. What else? I'm really perfect, guys.
Nana,
Yes, girl.
Mr.
difficult to find.
Mrs. Perfect.
No, yeah, I think, and just maybe being more because I think just being more intentional about learning the person or studying the person, even if we've been in relationship for a long time, because we do evolve, So I think sometimes I get very passive about, show me, and not be and I sort of slack in you start slacking in being more intentional around the pursuit. So I think that's that, and just this thing of just going back into my shell after disappointment and not communicating it immediately. And I think something that I remember somebody preached at my church back then about the ability to let somebody, when you're going through it, going through life, the ability to let somebody in while you're going through it and not after. So I think that's something that I struggle with. I pull back to get myself together.
Yes.
And then once I'm ready to present myself, I'm like, yo, guys, it happened a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And that's me closing my friends off, and not allowing for the friendship to grow deeper through that experience that I might be going through. So I think that's something I still need to work on, just allowing people in my messiest state.
Sure.
Outside that, I'm perfect.
Sure. Oh, wow. From my side, I think blind spot is I just feel as a friend, I'm not becoming I'm not as quick as I was before.
What does that mean?
So in terms of being there, I feel like I was that friend. Like if you need me, I'm here.
No, my
Advice.
yini.
No, my yini. I'm here. And like, to be honest, guys, it's so uncomfortable not being that. I can feel it with myself, and I just feel like it has taught me that's a blind spot, because I feel like if I'm not quick in responding when you need me, I'm not a good friend. And I've seen how I beat myself up regarding that, and that's a blind spot for me.
Don't worry,
Yeah, but I feel like I was on a 150.
I don't think the idea is perfection.
Yeah, you see, that's a blind spot, yeah. So, and also just with that point, I've recently learned that I'm actually And I thought I wasn't this person, that I don't allow friends as I go through something. I actually tend to allow them after.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was that person.
Share a testimony. That's what
You know?
Just sharing testimonies.
So funny because everybody has this like, yes, I'm that kind of girl.
So for me, those are just my blind spots at the moment, and just trying to, overcome them, and just being, especially with that striving for perfection as a friend. And because, like, guys, it's really getting to me, because I feel like at the moment I'm not where I want to be with all of my friendships, because usually I would know where everyone is, and because life is happening, I'm not there, and yeah, it's just uncomfortable. You see, that's a problem. I'm
Maybe the fact that
not.
you're struggling with being that friend, she's speaking to a bigger point that you also going through things.
Yeah, holding back. Ish. Counseling session 101. Siyabonga, siyabonga, siyabonga. So yeah, guys, we're wrapping this thing up. Thank you so much. I think this was so fruitful. It really spoke to me. I also got to see I've got an area where I need to improve on, allowing friends in. Like, I really appreciate you guys coming through as well, and just sharing your gems of wisdom. I really appreciate it. And do you have anything to say as we wrap it up?
Well, thanks for having us. It was great. I think it was a great conversation. And I hope people learn from it. Like, we learned a lot just discussing it. But nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
We're all a work in progress.
Yeah.
And just be intentional about getting better and being better for yourself and for the people in your life.
Yeah.
So
I
true.
think I'll also echo what Linda said. Thank you for having us. It's been great conversations. But I think, just to maybe as a closing remark, I think how you want to present yourself in a relationship starts with. So I think it's also important to not neglect introspection time and create self-awareness, because you might think that you are a star in friendships or in any relationships, but you're actually slacking, or you're lacking in certain areas because you're avoiding conversations with self, and you're not as self-aware as you think you are. So I think do not neglect working on self, because that will also prompt you to work on relationships. It starts with you. So I think, just to encourage everybody out there to just continue working on themselves and create a level of self-awareness, and be bold about pursuing friendships, man. You will get bent very hard, but you will come back and you will live. So that's it from my side.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And guys, catch us on the next episode with APNC podcast with Bongs. And again, don't forget to subscribe and add your comments and like the video. Until next time, we out.
Yay!